Hello everybody and welcome back to A Library of Books and Daydreams. So I wasn't sure what to film this week, and then I was thinking, like, it's so rainy and cold in the UK now, it's so autumnal and the leaves are looking absolutely beautiful shades of orange and gold and red, that I was just so inspired to do like an autumn recommendations list for you guys. I know it's probably a bit late to be doing an autumn recommendations, but also I'm going to think of this as like an autumn winter kind of thing. I don't know about any of you, but I always go towards fantasy in the autumn and winter, and I go towards contemporaries in the summer and spring. So I thought I would just do you a little wrap up about my favourite kind of fantasy, gothic reads for the next kind of couple of months. And the first one on this list, I will just dive right in, is Serpent and Dove. I think I'm going to recommend this to everybody for the rest of my life. I read this last month and oh my god, I think it's my favourite book of the year, if not, like, ever. Like, I can't even express how much I adored this book. It's set in what I believe to be Paris, like what I imagine in my head is like kind of Victorian Paris. And it really fits that theme for me. I think it's definitely in France anyway, from the language and terminology that they use. This is just amazing. There is witches, there is a beautiful, beautiful city, there is food. Like the first 50 pages there was a description of a patisserie that made me fall in love with this book. There is romance, there is friendship, there's everything. I cannot even tell you how much I love this book, and because it's so like spooky and there's witches and stuff, I think it's absolutely perfect for the time of year. I haven't read Blood and Honey yet. I'm either going to read it like early next year, so I have a gap between all of them, so I have like 6 months between this one and Blood and Honey and then the third one, or I'm going to just wait until the third one comes out and then probably reread this and then read Blood and Honey and read the third one. But I cannot wait because I absolutely adored this book and I just want to be back in this world, and I'm still constantly thinking about this book like a month later, so definitely one to recommend. And the second book on this list is very different. It is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I absolutely adore this book. This is one of my favourite books ever. I read it first when I was about 11 probably, and I've read it like 4 or 5 times since. This is the Barnes & Noble edition, which I absolutely love. It's the only one in the set that I have, but I really, really love it. It's beautiful, but this is like gothic, Victorian fiction, romance, and I can't tell you how much I love this book. It's just so perfect for autumn. If I didn't have so much on my TBR, I'd probably be rereading this right now. I might watch the film soon. Watch some of the films. I love some of the adaptations, but I think the 2011 one is my favourite, but this one is so perfect, and I love Jane and I love the romance, and I can't help but love this book, so I would definitely recommend this for autumn or winter. And the next book on this list is The Deathless Girls by Kira Millward Hargrave. I read this like 2 weeks ago and I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. So this is a retelling about Dracula's brides, and I didn't know that until the very end of the book, and it made me fall in love with it even more. I'm so glad that I picked this up when I did, because it was perfect for like before Halloween, and it had all the autumnal feels, and it's got vampires and it's got 2 sisters, and it's creepy and fantastical, and I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to read more by Kieran. Also a shout out to my lovely colleague and good friend Jo, who bought me The Secret of Birds and Bone, which is Kieran's new middle grade book. I cannot wait to get around to that one as well. And I felt like I couldn't do this list without putting 1 or 2 Leigh Bardugo books on here. I would say like any kind of fantasy, like I wanted to include Sarah J Maas, I wanted to include like, so I could just go on with this list forever, it could become really long. But I just feel like Leigh has the kind of feeling, like the fantastical, magical, she's so good at describing like landscapes and cities. I just think Six of Crows and the world of Six of Crows and the Grisha trilogy and King of Scars are just absolutely perfect for this time of year. I would also recommend Ninth House by her if you're looking for like kind of dark academia feels. Definitely go for Ninth House. But they're very different to her Grisha books. But I just have a place in my heart for Six of Crows. I think it's my favourite series by her. And it's about a heist, it's about a city, it's about 6 friends, and it is magical and amazing, and isn't the cover just so pretty? I've got another book to recommend by Lee, and that is The Language of Thorns. This is a collection of short stories, which I wouldn't usually recommend, but I'm going to try and show you because the chapters start like this, and then as they go on, the pages get more and more decorated until like the very end they are completely surrounded, and then they also have some really beautiful illustrations in here. This is one of the most like physically beautiful books that I probably own, and I have this copy, which is the Fairy one, and the other standard edition. I'm trying to find my favourite of these illustrations to show you, because like a couple of them just really stood out to me and I absolutely love them. And this just has like different things. It has people travelling in woods, it has like about like carnivals, if I'm going off the illustrations correctly, because I read this quite a while ago and I don't really remember it. It has stories about mermaids. This illustration is absolutely beautiful. But just this book is a journey. Well, it's like 5 or 6 journeys because it follows the different people in different stories. But I just think this is amazing. And if you're looking for a fantastical collection of short stories, look no further, because The Language of Thorns is definitely where to go. And the next book is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I love this book so much. I read it quite a while ago, and it is just one of those books that just captures your like imagination, and it's so beautifully written, and it's written like a classic, like a Victorian classic. It's quite long and it's very location and description heavy, but I loved it for it. Like, it's a slow read, a favourite. The same with all of her books. Well, I say two of her books, but just absolutely beautiful. It is about a travelling circus and the people that visit the circus, and it goes all around Europe, if I remember correctly, and I think most of this is set in London when it comes back a couple of times, and it's just absolutely beautiful and amazing, and I love it so much. And the next one is also by Erin Morgenstern, so this is her other book, The Starless Sea. I read this took me a long time to get through because, I mean, it's chunky, but I was in a position where I just wasn't reading that much. It probably took me like the better part of a month or two to get through last year. I read it in like autumn, winter last year, and just when it came out, and I absolutely adored it. It is so beautiful, and it was my favourite book of the year. This also has some kind of dark academia like vibes, because it is set partly in a university and then it is set in a completely different world. Amazing, descriptions are amazing. Again, it's just rich and beautiful and fantastical and magical, and I can't recommend it enough. I love it. And I'm so glad that I have so many beautiful editions of this book now. But yeah, that is The Starless Sea. I just realised that I missed a book off that I really want to include in this list, and I realised while I was talking about The Night Circus. This is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Again, this is like, it's not a circus, but this is about a game. This is about a game in which people can go to and attend and get lost in, and they are part of the game. And this is about a sister who becomes part of the game, and her other sister who is like also part of the game, but in a completely different way, and I don't think you know. I hope that's not a spoiler. But it's about these two sisters and the world of Caraval, the game of Caraval. This book opened my eyes to a different kind of fantasy that I had never read before. That Erin Morgenstern also does this very well. The descriptions of this, I read this years ago, and I can still remember like the most minute descriptions of things that I would never remember with other books. This series, I haven't actually finished this series because Legendary was quite disappointing for me. I think mostly because I've forgotten a lot of the things that happen in Caraval. So I haven't read Finale yet because I want to give it a proper shot. So I want to read Caraval, Legendary and Finale all together, which means rereading this one, which I'm definitely not unhappy about. But the first one blew me away. I think it was probably my favourite book of the year that I read it in. Absolutely beautiful, cannot recommend it enough. And just perfect for all of the magical feelings. And that is my towering pile of books that I would recommend for autumn. I think I've stacked these up in the right kind of way to be able to show you all of them in one go. They all look so beautiful together, they don't even fit on the screen, but they are just amazing. So those are some of my like fantasy recommendations for autumn and winter. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, comment down below with some of your recommendations, and subscribe if you want to see more like this. I'll see you next time. Bye!